Hi, my name is Alyssa Williams. I'm a fourth year life science student here at Ontario Tech. I'm also a physics-based peer tutor, and I'm going to talk to you about bullet journaling. The bullet journaling, there's a lot of different sections involved in it, and a person can decide what sections they want to include and what they don't want to include. But for standard bullet journaling, there's normally an index. I personally don't use it, but I know that a lot of people find this helpful when they're as a table of contents. For me personally as a student, I have a part dedicated to my academics, so it has my school schedule as well as my work schedule kind of together. And then it also incorporates any midterms or exams or assignments that may be upcoming, as well as I have kind of a small version of a grade tracker right behind that. So here we have this set up for our classes as well as work. So the way I set up my bullet journal is that I have the times alongside, and then I have the work week, so Monday to Friday. There's 5 courses, and I also include my work schedule so that I can see how everything fits with one another. For this spread, we have the grade tracker portion of the bullet journal. So I have each course and a little breakdown of its syllabus. So does it have midterms? Does it have labs? Does it have papers? And how much are they worth? So the final exam for this course will be worth 30%. And as I go on throughout the course, I'll have the grade that I achieve. And towards the end of the semester, when we receive final grades, I put all of them right here as well. So on this spread, we have the semester 1 layout. So what I have here is that I color coded each course to its own color. And for me, how I set up my bullet journal is that squares are midterms, circles are when papers or assignments are due, and asterisks are for if there's a special reminder or that I need to know about that date. Throughout the semester when they release, I will also include the exam schedule, but for now, I'll leave them blank. Another main component of the bullet journaling is the calendar section for each month. Some people may do event lists, they may do mood trackers, habit trackers, and they may do week-to-week trackers. And some people may also include daily planners, so they'll have a day dedicated to a page too, rather than just the weekday. So this is a spread for the beginning of September. So as you see, I have the name along the side, and at the top I have the monthly goal. So if this is, I want to achieve a certain grade within certain midterms, or if I want to get a certain amount of events done for a club or attend a certain amount of like sporting events or club events, I'll write them up here. And then I'll also put down the events within the calendar section too. So within my bullet journal, I include a mood tracker. How I set this up is that along the side are the days of the month. So for September, it goes from the 1st to the 30th. And along the side, I have different feelings that I could be feeling throughout the day. Of course, this is not standard for everyone. For example, let's say it's the 15th of September. If I'm feeling happy, then I will just fill in the happy portion of this day. And if I'm feeling a little bit stressed because I got assignments to do soon, and let's say that I'm a bit bored, then that's how I would fill it in. And what I would do for my next section is that this is more of a chart of how I'm feeling overall for the day. So if I'm feeling sad, neutral, and happy. So at the end of the day, if I'm like, today was a pretty good day, so I'm gonna extend my line all the way up. I have my habit tracker, and I put some like very general habit titles. However, you can put in whatever habits are applicable to you. For example, you can put in exercising or cooking your meals and choosing a healthier option instead of junk food, or perhaps washing the dishes or doing your laundry at a certain time, or maybe finishing all your studying within a day. So if I had completed, let's say, habit number 1, which was taking my vitamins, then I'll put a circle around it. If I made sure to exercise, then I would also put a circle around for habit number 2. Of course, don't feel bad if you don't complete the whole thing. That totally happens for the rest of us too. But it's a good way to keep track of what you've done within a month. So this is for an example for how you can set up a week. So kind of want to have the date and the days that it's spanning for the week. So for the first week of September, it's from September 1st to September 7th. I also include this week's events. So if anything's going on, for example, if I have a meeting or if I have an important midterm that's due this week, I will have it lined up right here. For this spread, I have everything in 4 squares to kind of give me good space for this week. So again, this is just another way to set up your week, except for it's horizontal instead of these squares. And also the way that I set up the weeks is that I do the Sunday to Saturday calendar. However, I know that a lot of people may do Monday to Sunday, and either way is fine. This is another way you can set up your week, except for it is in vertical columns, but I do still have my this week's event section. So here's another example also for setting up your week. It's a little bit more sporadic, however, it is a bit creative. This week perhaps is for like a busier week when you need more space than the other layouts will provide. So as you can see, like the block that you have for each day is a lot larger. And I actually do have a bit of a cutout for this week. So what I did was I had the 3 pages together and then I cut part of the middle page to make this flap right here. So then I could have each day have a little bit more space. So when you're scheduling your events and your things to do for the week, you normally would just write it out and then you put dots beside each of the events or projects that you want to accomplish. And when you finish a project, you want to exit out or do a check mark to say that the task has been complete. However, if you want to move the task to a different day, you want to do an arrow, which is facing towards the other days of the week. If the task is something that you want to bump to the calendar in the beginning of the section, you want to do an arrow facing the calendar. And for example, the task I have here is prep for a meeting, and if that's no longer relevant, then you can just strike out the task. So everyone sets it up a bit differently, but that's the general layout.